far as we're not doctors, we're not scientists, we're not claiming to be any kind of an expert. We're just two friends who we met in the ocean. We love humanity, we love people, we love the planet, and we decided we'd get together to talk, because there's a lot of stuff happening and we talk about it. So I just want to share that.
Yeah, and I guess we'd like to introduce ourselves, being our first video. My name is Bella.
I'm Jane.
And as Jane said, we're two friends and we're not experts, we're not professionals, and we're just going to talk on some stuff that's happening on the planet right now. And you may or may not be interested, but we just thought we would share where we're at and what we've been hearing and what's kind of going on.
And sort of deciding on where to start with this has been an interesting process, because obviously there's, 2020, we've got so much stuff. I mean, we start the year with apocalyptic bushfires, burnt the entire east coast of Australia just about, sort of on the back of massive mismanagement of water, no water into the Darling Basin, so therefore no water to put the bushfires out. Thank God the rain finally came. But what was followed then was obviously this COVID pandemic. There, I said it.
Yes, look, if you are the kind of person who just believes everything you see on the news, or believes everything you hear from mainstream media. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and we're not going to tell you what to believe. But if you are the kind of person that gets your information from mainstream media, probably stop watching right now, because really we're not going to resonate with you. We are fact finders. We like to use our intuition to feel into, does this information feel true or does it feel correct for us? And we've gone searching for things outside of the mainstream, which we really want to talk about.
And I think I was sort of thinking about where do we start with this, and I think we start with where we met each other, which was in the ocean. And for me, what's happening around the world is it's sort of, we're disconnected from nature as human beings, and I think collectively we've created this situation to shake us up ultimately.
Do you mean the coronavirus situation, or
everything that's going on, everything that's sort of led up to this point where we're in this sort of, like, it feels like the world's ending. It's like the end of the world. It's certainly the end of an age.
Well, the world as we know it is ending.
The world as
has
we know it.
ended. So, we have been living in a reality that is no longer serving us as a humanity, as a collective. So I think what has brought all of this about is that we as human beings are evolving as a species, and our consciousness is evolving. So all of this stuff that's coming up for review is coming up in the collective energy of the planet.
Yeah, and you hear all this sort of, we're moving from a 3D reality into a 5D reality, and I've been listening to Bella talk for about 8 years now about fifth dimensional stuff, and I've sort of nodded, and I haven't understood everything she said, but vibrationally I've felt that there was a truth to her words, and I couldn't, some of the experiences that she's had, I have no idea about, but I'm open to learning. I think we all need to be open to learning and to experiencing new insights and new vibrations, new frequencies, and just saying, what, I don't know about that, but it could be possible.
So I think what we're talking about is the ascension of the planet, which if you were to go and search on Google, if you were to Google fifth dimensional frequency or new Earth or fifth dimensional Earth, we are moving from a planet that is third dimensional reality, third dimensional consciousness, into fifth dimensional consciousness. So what is 3D? 3D is linear, time, space, frequency. It's everything that we have around us. And fifth dimensional consciousness is a vibration that's multi-dimensional, multi-limitless, and hold your socks on, because we are going to live a life that is so in alignment and so juicy, oh my God, it's just so exciting for where we're going. as a planet. But what is it that has to crumble in our 3D reality to make space for our fifth dimensional reality?
I think what has to crumble, not that it was a question for me, but is, we're so insular, we're so connected to our bodies. For me, I think we need to understand and first and foremost come into alignment with our souls, with source energy, really know that within us, within me, within you, at our heart level, at our gut level, that we are connected to divine intelligence and that we are very powerful beings. And we're spiritual beings on this planet wrapped up in a human form, which is beautiful, but to understand that we are more than who we think we are, it's not a bad place to start, I think. What about you?
So, yeah, I think that's a great place to start. But what if, let's say you're someone that doesn't believe in any of this, or doesn't know how to connect with themselves, or doesn't even know what that means. How does one go about starting to connect with themselves?
I like, there's a question that I like. It's, if you're not your name, then who are you? And it's just something to consider, because we're given names and so we identify with those. I'm Jane, I'm from Melbourne, I moved to the Gold Coast, I travelled here, I'm sitting here as Jane. But I'm so much more than that, and we're all so much more than who we're told we are. There's layers and layers and layers, and yeah.
And as you start shifting into fifth dimensional frequency and fifth dimensional consciousness, as the layers of your third dimensional reality begin to strip away, it can be incredibly confronting, because you may have been living a life that wasn't to the highest calling of your soul, like so many of us were doing in 3D. Every one of us is, there are some people who have been living a life that is exactly the life that they wanted to live.
And having a bloody great time doing it.
But you ask yourself, are you in a job that you like? Are you in a marriage that you want to be in? Do you have friends that you want to be in? Do you live in the place where you want to live? Do you do the sports you want to be doing? Are you living a life that's to the calling of your soul? Is your soul telling you to pack up and go live in Italy for a year? If it is, that's what beginning to align with fifth dimensional frequency looks like. You start listening to that little voice, those little callings in your soul that are saying there's something more for you than how you're currently living.
It's sort of a bit like we've been talking about this a bit, about, you get to a certain point and then it's great, and then you think, oh, well, there's got to be something more, and then you get to another point and it's like, well, there's something more, and there always seems to be, what is it there's something missing, and I think all of this corona stuff that we're going through, the lockdown and the separation from friends, it's forced us to ask the question, well, what's really important to me? Connecting with my family, connecting with my friends, sneaking out of the house and going for a walk at the beach, or we snuck down and had a few surfs, and really doing what your soul is longing to do, what your heart desires are, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, really giving up caring what anyone else thinks of who you are or what you decide to do. I'd rather be on the other side of the camera, but it's like, I don't care anymore what people think, so that's okay.
If she cared what people think, she wouldn't be doing this, because her daughters think she's crazy. Crazy. They say, who's going to listen to you two?
They were going to lock me up a few months ago, so when all of this started and I started watching all these YouTube clips and forming opinions that didn't suit everybody, it certainly didn't suit my children, because it scared them, frankly, and fair enough, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, right? And
we're going to talk about some of that crazy shit in some of our coming videos. What's really going on the planet behind closed doors, and what really has to crumble in our reality to make way for this new reality.
Yeah, I guess today is just about sort of saying hello and letting you know who we are and what we're about. And basically we're about expansion, we're about opening our minds, we're about being unafraid, we're about connecting with the wild woman and the wild spirit, and saying, this is who we are.
There's a bird speaking to us here.
This is who you are, and whoever you are, it's okay. Just be who you are. Let's have fun, for God's sake.
Let's have fun and let's not be so serious.
So serious.
So many serious Nellies out there. Like, seriously, it's just like, let's lighten up.
Take the bloody mask off and lighten up. Lucky in Australia, there's not too many masks around, so I think we're really lucky in Australia. But around the world, it's madness. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. And I want to leave you with a question. If money wasn't an issue, and time, or any of the excuses that we've used in the past, oh, I can't do that, I've got children, I can't do that, I've got this. If none of, let's forget it. I know we're living in a 3D reality, but in fifth dimensional reality, all is possible. So let's just throw all the excuses out of the window for a second. I want to ask you what kind of life you would be living.